Hey y'all, Bearder Bros Golf Show, back at it again for another week. I am Rod.
And now Marcus.
I'm just gonna embarrass him right off the top. Marcus does not respect y'all's time. Um, he does not respect y'all's time. So that's why we were running a few minutes late here. How was your week, man?
It was good. Could have been better, but always could be worse. So I'm not gonna sit here and complain. What about yours, brother?
Yeah. Uh, I guess generally the same. Got a new piece, new pew pew. Took the wife to the pew pew range for the first time, so that was interesting. She had never shot a pew pew before. So
Cool.
yeah, that was an interesting little start to the week. So exercise your Second Amendment rights, folks. Anyway, interesting week in golf, man. More than I thought we would have. To be honest with you, I was not been super excited about golf. Just not really feeling it. But let's go ahead and get into it. Right off the top of the week, we find out that for the next playing of the Ryder Cup here next year, that the U.S. guys will be getting up to 400K. They're still voting on the amounts that they're going to be receiving, which is a big change. I mean, slightly different for the Ryder Cup, President's Cup. The guys had received 250,000 for this last iteration, but money coming to the Ryder Cup is very different. I'll go over Rory's reaction here in a little bit from the European side. What did you think?
I think the money is secondary in this situation. I think that the Ryder Cup speaks for itself. It's the longest, pretty much one of the longest running rivalries that the U.S. and mainland Europe has. So I think they should have kept it that way and kept it for the fun of the game. But when people are complaining about it taking a week out of their lives, they want to get compensated for it. So they're gonna do it. So it is what it is. I think it's kind of corny, but the
I think
Patrick Henleys of the world wants that bread.
it's absolutely corny. I mean, the fact is, it is for country, and I think that's what comes across from the European side. And Rory's quote was that he would pay to play in the Ryder Cup, and to a certain degree, I'm sure, based on that there were some expenses being taken care of for the players, travel,
Yeah,
room and board, clearly, all that kind of stuff, and that they were just showing up for the love of country. So
right.
it's kind of sad to me that it came to that, and we didn't see any issues from Cantlay or Xander Schauffele in the President's Cup participating in the event fully without issues. I'm sure 250K more than satisfied their needs for a weekend of play. But I do think it puts a little bit of a stain, and I think to a man on the European side, I think the first time I saw an article even referencing this was earlier in the week from Shane Lowry, and I think he
Yeah,
also had a negative view of this as well. That it's just something that should have stayed for the love of the game, but once you cross that Rubicon and you make it a part of it, there's really no way to go back and take that away from people. So I think it sucks, to be honest with you. It's sad that it had to come to that, and that we're in this age of late stage capitalism where everything has to be paid for, right? Nothing,
yeah,
nobody does anything for love of country, and I get it. Like, we all want to be paid for certain activities in our lives, but this is kind of one of those things where it's like could have stayed away from that. It's not like these players are hurting for money. I just could have
yeah,
left this up for purity. That's just my take on that.
yeah. I think Rory. I mean, besides the fact that he said he'd pay to play, I think he said it best as well when he said, "I mean, there's 51 other weeks in the world in the year that you can get paid somewhere to go play golf competitively. So why not take it upon yourself to do that there?"
Right. 100%. Which I think, even though I don't have this on the list, I do want to mention this, and just good segue into that, mentioning Rory. So he over this week over in Jumeirah wins the DP World Tour, Chase to Dubai, wins the event, as well as the season long race. So
Yep.
that's the sixth time that he's won this, and out there with the wife and daughter. So it's crazy how that this year has gone. I
Yeah.
mean, earlier in the year we were talking about them possibly getting a divorce. A divorce was filed for. They go back on that, but presenting as a united front and have the family all out there. Young daughter throwing up the six for his sixth DP World Tour Chase to Dubai. Shout out to Rory, but he did mention that going forward, he was going to start reducing some of his reps, still giving as much time as he's always given to the DP World Tour. Said he would be cutting. I think it was a regular tour, regular season event, as well as the one of the elevated events out of its next season's schedule to get down to like 22, 23 events going forward just to protect his body. He says he's starting to feel it a little bit as a 35-year-old. He's like, I'm aging. He still plans to play well into his 40s, but says he needs to protect himself. What do you think about Rory's week as a whole and also the reduced schedule going forward?
Um, I mean, he mentioned that in the interviews going into the championship out there in Dubai. I mean, he said it best. He said, "I still hold the DP World Tour in high regards. It's the first tour I played on. It's the first tour that gave me status. So, I hold it, and I want to hold that allegiance to it. So." I'm not going to cut any events from there. And, he still wants to play in his home open, still wants to play in the BMW over there, and then there's the major
Yep.
event, the major championships as well. So there's going to be plenty of times where we see Rory, and they're going to televise any event that he's in. So we'll still see him 23 weeks out the year, and then we'll see him for the Ryder Cup. So 24 out of 52 is still almost half the year. So nothing to
Yeah.
really complain about or cry about. And yeah, the week as a whole, the swing looked good. I mean, he looked like he was doing what he was supposed to do. He actually could have been a little bit lower. The putter once again failed him a few times. You saw him. I mean,
Right.
I know when I was watching, there was a couple of chances for him, and I know 18 round one, round two, caught a couple of lip outs, so at least could have been two strokes better. But all in all, I mean, he had his game face on, and he hooped. So and also he tied Sevi Ballesteros and I think one other player for most Race to Dubai or Race to Dubai merit. So 6 season titles is now up there for number one, and I know he's gonna go to try to get the record either in these next couple of years while he's still prime Rory or just before it's all said and done. So I'm always going to be a Rory fan, so I'm very happy to see it, and I'm glad I was, able to chase a little bit of sleep after at some point throughout the day, and I stayed up late to watch some of it.
No doubt. No doubt. I'm very pleased and happy for him because I think one of the other kind of things to underscore is that, this is in the midst of him trying to do a swing change, which isn't always easy. I saw that you had liked a post from on Instagram from Danielle Kang and that she said she was going through a swing change.
Yeah,
And, those are not easy to execute on and your body has to get used to that change. And when the pressure's on, can you actually perform and still get the
yeah,
job done. So we saw Rory competing last week, his initial week coming off of, not playing for a little bit, implementing the swing changes and still competing for a top three finish. And for him to come here this week with a pretty decent field behind him and still win. Very notable, very respectable, and really does hopefully bode well for the future for him. Hopefully, we can see a really, a solid season in 2025 from Rory.
yeah,
Were kind of disappointed this year. Had a few opportunities, was close, and just wasn't able to always close the deal. So
yeah.
hopefully, we get to see that from him, this year or going into next season. But yeah, shout out to Rory. Very proud of my man. We're big Rory fans, and I love to see him performing and doing well. Um, I feel like his heart's always in the right place, so rooting for him.
Yeah.
while we're over here on the DP World Tour, getting this article pulled up, we kind of touched on it last week. Some prospective people that were going to be able to swing over to the PGA Tour from their top 10 finishes in the DP World Tour season. So, number two today, finishing right behind Rory, was Rasmus Højgaard. He will be joining his brother. We kind of pretty much solidified that last week that he was
Yep.
going to be able to do that. So, he locked that in. So, he'll be heading over. Tristan Lawrence, the South African, or Tristan Lawrence. We'll see how the U.S. Commentators refer to him next year. But he's heading over. Paul Waring, the 39 going on 50-year-old Paul Waring, the Silver Fox. Jesper Svensson, um, big game. I'm looking forward to seeing him play. He's one of the
Yeah.
guys that I've loved watching play. Nicholas Norgard will be heading over. Our guy, Mateo Manacero, I think he ended up sixth in the list.
Yep.
Thorborn Olesen, Plana Salter, Antoine Rosner. So he was out of it last week. He was outside of the standings. So good to see him close
Yeah.
in
He had
on
a good
that. He's
week.
an exciting player. He really did. Ryuka Hoshino, um, hadn't seen a lot of him, and the last one kind of snuck in. Tom McKibben, he's in Northern Ireland, so
Wow.
he'll
He
be
had a
heading over
really
as
good
well.
week.
So he had a really good week. So we'll get to see some fresh faces out on the PGA Tour. Always exciting to inject some new blood. I think the PGA Tour, honestly, looking at the advertisements this week and their kind of roll ads, I think they're embracing this whole narrative of new stars and seeing
Yeah.
players that you don't get to see week in, week out. So what do you think about this crop? Anybody that you're looking forward to that stands out? Give me your three that you're looking forward to watching play.
Yeah. Always looking forward to see more and more Mateo. I mean, we'll see how many starts he accepts, not, how
Yeah.
many he's allowed, but how many he wants to do. Because again, it's similar to the Moronk situation. Yeah, Moronk had that fall off and he got snubbed, but as a European guy, living a certain lifestyle, living, pretty much out of a suitcase, how much of the US culture are they gonna, accept, understand, or want to bear as a European,
Mm-hmm.
as somebody that has lived a different lifestyle and played in a different game and play it at different courses compared to the more woodland courses that we play over here. So I am looking forward to him. As I mentioned last week, Mr. Hoshino, how will the Japanese delegation accept him over here? How he will, kind of, I guess, gravitate and look for guidance through Hideki. I think that'll be fun to see. Hopefully they,
Mm-hmm.
um, I mean, I don't care. Hopefully they get paired together because I want to see them
Right.
chop it up.
Get some
I want to
featured
see those views.
pairings.
Absolutely. And then Anton Rosner. I mean, he's got a quirky game because he's a smaller statured guy, doesn't necessarily hit it a mile, but gets it around the course, and he'll take on some challenges. Like 18 yesterday, you know how it goes over there at Jumeirah. If you hit that right side of the par five, then you have like an easy, iron into the green, and he was taking it on and had him a eagle putt to get into like the last group on the third round. So he definitely has some game. It's not like we're not deterring that, and we're not disrespecting him at all. So
Yeah.
I'm excited to see what he can do and how his game translates over here as well. So those would be my top three. What you got besides Vincent? Who you looking for?
I agree with Manacero. I'm just excited to see him play stateside again and see
Yeah,
if he has matured enough to stay over here and really take advantage of what his game has showed us early on. I think he was a big talent, and I think maybe the moment was too big for him at the time. Had to go learn and figure out how to kind of, I don't know, not necessarily win, but just compete at the highest level consistently. And I
yeah,
think that's tough. it's tough. And so him coming up so young, we see, a lot of players really either thrive. It's easy to get burnt out when you're a young prodigy. But here he is as a grown man, mature game. So I'm looking forward to seeing him kind of, do his thing.
Yeah,
And who's another one? I don't know. That's, I mean, I'm interested also to see how the brothers do.
Rasmus.
You
Yeah,
know,
Rasmus.
yeah, the Horkard brothers. So won't be the first set of twins. I don't. There's the kids from Texas that played at UT. I know one of them's on the tour. I don't know if both of them. Their names are slipping my brain right now. But they won't be the first set of twins to play on the professional game. But I think both simultaneously on the PGA Tour. So also again, just interested to see if we get some featured pairings with the brothers if they're playing in the same events and see how they play against compete together or if one of them ends back up on the DP World Tour. So I'm
Yeah.
just looking forward to another good season, which kind of also rolls into another story that kind of randomly came up in my list from Golf Digest this week. It's a player named Johannes Veerman who's still over there on the DP World Tour. I
Yeah.
hadn't really heard of this name until this article, but his perspective on being his parents are both from different countries. I think his father was Dutch. I forget what his mother was from. I believe she was from an Asian origin. Was born in California. Johannes was went to college at Texas A&M, graduated, and then went over to the DP World Tour. And has said he's really figured out himself. The travel has been good to learn the world, experience different cultures. He said, the 6 to 7 hour flights because the DP World Tour travels quite a bit. That's something he's had to get used to. But he said it's also matured his game and sees it as a really competitive path to get over to the PGA Tour eventually. And when he gets here, he feels like he'll be more than ready to take on that challenge. And we mentioned this, I want to say it was 3 weeks ago, like 3 weeks ago, where the challenge tour was the only kind of event going that particular week, and just said that there's really a lot of talent out here, competing and just seeing, a tour that we don't typically get to see. So I'm excited that players are still embracing, not just, oh, let me figure out how to get good for a little bit and then go over to live golf, get a check, and then chill
Yeah.
out like Morant has been doing. But yeah, I thought it was just a nice little heartwarming story to see a guy really still believing in that path and embracing the DP World Tour experience.
Yeah, actually, funny enough, I've had a chance to meet him. His brother has frequented Wildcat. He's made the trip out. He's played at our course before. One of our
Wow.
pros, Connor was his caddy for a season or so. So wasn't always the funnest of life because Connor is, married. He's attached to his family and everything here stateside. So he would travel with him. And then, of course, luckily with Johannes being stateside as well, they would kind of have a similar style of just, all right, we're going to play. We're going to, be in Europe for 3, 4, 5 weeks at a time. And then we'll have a couple of weeks break. We'll be able to travel back. Um, I think them being friends and both A&M legacy and stuff like that, I don't think Connor necessarily was compensated the way he would, what a full time caddy would necessarily be compensated,
Hmm.
just friends and it being a favor and stuff like that.
He,
But
he was giving him the homie hookup, or at least
he was giving
offered the
them
homie hookup.
yeah, and so like he kind of Connor was he just really had to make the executive decision that I could probably still make more doing my own thing, trying to chase my dream as a pro, and then also just giving lessons stateside and at the crib. So I think they amicably split, but Johannes is a very nice guy. You kind of see it on TV, but definitely a pretty big guy. I think he's eye to eye with me. His brother's a little bit bigger than me as far as height goes, but he is a really well built gentleman, and them dudes can hit the ball a long ways. I think they're both ping staffers. I know Johannes is, but I think Jacob, the
Yeah.
younger brother, is as well. I think that's who he plays, and he taught out at Wildcat for a while as well. So, yeah, really
Okay.
nice guys, and definitely a really good story. Um, so yeah, as soon as you sent that and put it in the show notes, I was like, oh, I mean that guy I know. So it was real cool that that
small,
popped up,
small,
random enough.
small world. Yes, very, very
Absolutely,
small
bro.
world. That's crazy. So is his brother, younger brother, a gamer, or is he just he's good but not pro good?
Yeah, at the moment, yeah. So I think he's kind of on the teaching, on more on the teaching side, and making his own way. But yeah, I think he still has aspirations to play, and has tried out for the qualifier at the Houston Open, um, at our qualifier and stuff like that as well. So yeah, I think he's still trying to get it out the mud as well.
Okay, cool. All right. Kind of a little bit while we're focused overseas. One little note from the Live Golf Tour. Um, two notes. One that's not in our notes. One's more of a jab from me. Uh, so announced this week, kind of hinting at the schedule. Still nothing official, but Greg Norman announced that two stops that they had this year would be going away. That's the Nashville and Houston locations. One are going to be replaced with an event in South Korea, so therefore into Korea, and the other one has not been announced as of yet. Um, Interesting. We got a lot of heat when we posted a video about Live Golf in Houston being a fail, and also Nashville, the time of the year that they had the Nashville and Houston events, and I would even say the Dallas event later in the year that I attended. It's just way
Yeah,
too hot to be in the South at the time of year that
yeah,
they had these events, which I'm sure that also played a that the players were complaining about that. I'm sorry. It's just
had to have.
late late June, early July, not the time to be playing professional golf in Texas. It's ridiculous.
At
So
12
yeah,
noon.
right, with late starts. Yeah, so we got a lot of flack, but ultimately I stand typically when we say something, it's not this ill informed. We're basing this on experience and things that we've researched. So I felt very confident when we posted that and had that opinion on the event, and definitely not as hospitable for the weather as it could have been. I needed a lot more
Yeah,
missed fans and
you talking
accommodations,
to
but
two
that's
sweaty
interesting.
guys. You talking
Right.
to two athletes that have sweated their whole lives in no temps, besides the fact that rapport that has been, transponded upon us. Like just like what Rod was saying. We saw the post, we saw the interactions on Instagram and everything else. So it wasn't just us talking out the side of our mouth. There was definitely some vetted opinions here that got us where we were. And again, when you can just look at the Weather Channel app and see for yourself, who wants to play in 90-degree weather if it's not at 8 a.m., where you know that you're going to be breezing through this. And by the time you're finished, it's 90, 95. And then
Right.
Dallas in the middle of the summer, no breeze, no, escape from it. Tennessee, I don't know
Yeah.
how it is,
Wide open course in Dallas, like no
you know,
trees,
no
literally
trees.
no trees.
Tennessee, in July, if it's not over there at the base of the mountains where there's a little tunnel, wind tunnel, and stuff like that, then yeah, again, same situation. As we mentioned, if it's not in March, early season, latest April, then what are we really talking about? Or it's got to be in October. But when you only have a 14 event season, I don't think your season's going to stretch all the way into October. So again, I think you need to do that early season when the weather is more advantageous. But
Yeah.
you know,
It's interesting because I feel like thinking about as we're trying to talking through this, um, it almost feels like they should try to take advantage of the off season. You know how like we've had all these NFL competitors for years try to compete and just going head up. I think with the PGA Tour, whether they want to hate it or not, I think that that may be a better pathway for them where they're utilizing these sites and times of the year that the PGA Tour isn't in prime competition. And
Yeah,
I know that may screw up their players for majors, etc. I mean, but it also gives them a chance to maybe go compete on the DP World Tour and
yeah,
get some reps out there throughout the year to stay, you know, keep them keep them sharp for majors. Hell, Terrell Hadden still playing. I mean, he's
yeah.
clearly, utilizing that time. So I don't know. Maybe that's a pathway because I mean, since 2 weeks ago when we kind of heard about a potential merger, that's gone quiet. There's been no articles posted. I just kind of did a quick little search of news articles today just to see if anything else had progressed. But everything else is dated 2 weeks. Everything that's out there is 2 weeks ago when the
Yeah,
news initially broke, and we have not heard squeak about it since then.
yeah.
So I don't
You
know.
know what? Well, I
Go
mean,
ahead.
while we're still on the topic, I think another thing that they could do, because again, as we've said before, we're not haters. We want to see a good product. That's the bottom line. You don't think that they wouldn't benefit from some tune-up events ahead of the season here stateside when the weather's good? You don't think so? That's when you try
Oh,
Florida.
definitely.
That's when you try Texas. That's when you have those events where we know it's going to be pretty steep in temp, where it's going to be cooled off and it's going to be a nice, breezy, comfortable 70, 80 degrees, something like that. I think that's when you come over here, you venture over here. The money's still going to be fine, even if it's still half off. Because I mean, they're making 4 million on a win. So you have that, you
Yeah.
cut the cost, it's still 2 million in your pocket for a 2 month tune up event or an off field friendly, as you would call it, the Europeans would call it.
Well,
Something like that. You know what I'm saying?
they're all freaking friendly. I mean, they're still calling
Exactly.
their tournaments invitationals or something like that. It's still not, you're not qualifying for it, which was kind of leads into something that is still a problem for them or continues. It's really, we're not seeing any more big signings from them. That's over.
Yeah.
That the
They
day and
need a
age,
population.
we're not getting those rumors of, oh, somebody's on the fence. Those days are done. And I
Yeah.
don't, I don't know how much they're still trying to court players, but they're really their best bet is getting folks off of the DP World Tour, seeing if they could sneak a couple there. But to be honest, there's no one else that's coming over from the PGA Tour that hasn't already migrated. And I saw some little stupid article, almost probably like some clickbait stuff, but mentioned Brooks Koepka putting together his dream team, and it included Tony Finau. And I was just like,
Tony
is this like
Finau,
a ploy?
yeah, stop. I mean, he's got to stop that already. But here's the thing, though. Just like what you said or what you were hinting at, they're not getting any more PGA guys because you know why? The PGA has invested in them already. They've already set aside those guidelines for money to be, and equity in the company, quote unquote. So yeah, I think that ship has sailed. And again, I think more so than anything, when you have funny moments, um, oh Lord, oh, I think when you have funny moments um where like Adrian Ontangwe and what's our
Mm,
favorite other guy, Bernd Wiesberger, when they've gone from the DP World Tour to live and then back again. So,
yeah.
all right, bro, clearly that experiment isn't working for the DP World Tour players as well. So, who are you gonna grab, and who is gonna be, snatching views over there as well? So hopefully
No one.
you
I
can
think
get them
they're
exactly. You better
they're at
get them young in
they're at
college.
they're at the top of their talent pool right now, and they need to do a better job of developing their players. And I don't know how they're going to do that because I mean, they don't have a TV deal for next year. That's one thing. That they were on CW, no TV deal going forward. So are they going to be strictly back to YouTube streaming?
Yeah,
That's a barrier. I mean, again,
yeah.
that's just not where a lot of people are going to migrate to. The kid that they got, the young guy, Caleb Surratt,
Surratt, yeah.
don't know him. I mean,
No
we
clue.
saw they kind of introduced him when he came over.
Was he even on
Initially, he
PGA
got
Tour U or anything like that?
not that I'm aware of. I think he went straight from Tennessee to live,
Yeah,
and yeah, I think he left school kind of mid semester to go. So I mean, again, they don't do a great job of being able to market their individuals and build stories around them. So again, I wish PGA Tour had done a better job before, but I feel like now that they're under the gun, there's been a lot of adjustments that they have made on the positive side to try to
yeah,
build up some of these stories and some of their players that put them out there in front of us, develop these new stars. That way, when the current generation of guys that we know and that are going to be good for another 5 to 10 years, your Schefflers, Rory McIlroy still trucking it out, Xander Schauffele, Patrick Cantlay, a number of different players kind of in that ilk that are on the back end of their careers, right? We don't know what Jordan Spieth is going to be like coming off of this surgery. Justin Thomas, who knows?
yeah,
Will he be able to carry over his momentum from the back half of this year into 2025? But in the meantime, the PGA Tour is like, hey, we still have the talent to go forward. These guys are still shooting the same scores and being as competitive as we were a few years ago when John Rahm was winning, events over here. The
yeah.
the quality of scoring is still remain the same. So shout out to them, to the PGA Tour for finally adjusting on that kind of stuff, and good luck to Live and figuring it out. Because again, they're not going to make any more big splashes at this point, and I think we've also shown that it doesn't really matter who they bring over. Rom
Yeah,
didn't necessarily attract the eyes. Bryson locally, when they came to Dallas, attracted the eyes, and they were
yeah,
able to set attendance records because they were on his home course in a place where he's familiar, even though this is not his home. He went to SMU, probably I think still resides here, but you know
yeah.
he still resides here. Let me not say probably, he does because he does a lot of his YouTube vids here in local courses as well. So anyway,
What?
we'll get off of the. Go ahead.
No, one last thing though. Again, just trying to really just trying to understand because if I'm recruiting as a live as a live exec, as a live recruiter, as somebody that wants that tour to succeed and grab eyes again, where do we go? Because the young guys that you could get from amateur golf or from already collegiate golf, where are they going? They're going stateside. And then what's on the
Yeah.
TV? PGA Tour. There's a whole golf channel for the PGA Tour, the Old Man Tour, and the LPGA. So again, I'm not seeing many Asian tour events on there. I'm seeing the DP World
No.
Tour, and the DP World Tour is coming over here as well. And then I'm not seeing, we don't see the Mid Pacific Amateur on Golf Channel anymore. It's on ESPN. It's for 2 hours. It's pre-recorded, and then it's right back off the network. So again, I just want to know where do I go? Where
For
do I get
yeah.
eyes? And if you think it's YouTube, I don't even know if you can say that anymore because the Grand
No.
Horvat, he's already tied to the PGA. You know what? I just want to know where they're going to go because I don't want to rehash things that we've already talked about. Because we've talked about this.
Right.
Who could you go from content creators wise? Raj already locked up. Grant already locked up. The
Yeah.
Bryan brothers, sorry asses, they already, they already allegiance to the PGA. So again, where do you go to possibly pull somebody in and grab
That
a magnet
that
to take with you?
right. Right, because the golf one of those funny dudes from England, the golf
The Four
bros,
Brothers,
Four Brothers. That's what it is. Four Brothers.
those
That's
guys
not
are
enough to
hilarious.
drive. They're hilarious, but they're not enough to drive the eyes to the live tour, right?
Agreed.
I did see I don't know what forum I was looking at, but somebody had a good idea, and this would work for both of the tours, is to have a full social media team following around these players, putting out content consistently.
Yeah,
And while to a certain degree, when you said, "Hey, I question some of the YouTube stuff," there is a certain fatigue, with YouTube golf, especially like on the playing side of things. Like, I don't know. I think there's a certain segment that they may be able to capture, but I also think there's limits to that segment. The Bryson stuff is still a hit. He still gets a ton of views. I don't know
yeah,
how many other people are willing and talented enough to actually attract viewers and them care about it, right? I think with some professional production and dedicated crews, you could find some stars that get some pop and some attention and be able to attract, and put some attention on players from either tour. I think that could
yeah.
work, but
But we
I don't
mentioned
know.
that
We don't
already
know.
too, though. I mean,
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Like, Phil loyalists, that Lefty has some loyalists to him, but
yeah,
if you're going off of individual channels, Bryson goes live for the round, Phil goes live for the round. Who else? Brooks goes live for the round. Cool.
Brooks,
John
Brooks, yeah,
Rahm
because
goes
he's
live.
done
That's
the
four players.
yeah. John
Tyrrell
wouldn't do
Hatton's
it
not
because he's
going.
a
Yeah, Hatton's not
no,
going live. He's going to cuss everybody out if he checks
and
the comments or
Rom
something like that.
Rom's always one bad shot away from a temper tantrum, and that would probably
Yeah,
do
he's
more
already pissed
damage.
off. Yeah,
Yeah, that would do more to his reputation, bad for his reputation. But I agree with the names that you mentioned. Brooks has done the match, so he's comfortable being on camera, having the
yeah.
commentary with the AirPod in and whatnot. So, yeah, I mean it's a limited group of guys that are that
Sergio's a
comfortable in front of
major
the
win.
camera.
You know what? Sergio's a major winner. Nobody caping for him like that. Nobody gives a flying hoop what Sergio has to do or what he's doing in golf anymore. I mean, and
Not
that's the
at all.
thing. Likable guys like Lee Westwood, Ian Poulter, formerly, guys that we used to be like, yo, like, you know, I, Lee Westwood swing, still pure. Ian Poulter, still one of the coolest
Yeah,
young 50-year-olds
I'm gonna
ever.
keep it real. I'm soon to delete my X account or Twitter account, whatever. But those two that you mentioned in particular have ruined their kind of public
Legacy.
goodwill
Mhm.
online. To be honest, like they'll post stuff and I'll watch the comment section, and they get ratioed pretty often and with their opinions and have been essentially kind of characterized as complainers and whiners, particularly Lee Westwood.
Yeah.
But I've seen contentious, um, interactions with fans, particularly from Europe, with those guys online. So I don't even think people would care about them either, despite their previous likability. I think in their old age they've become, the guy yelling, at the moon. So I don't know.
They're the get
I
off my line guys now.
that they essentially are.
Mm.
Just to be super petty, because I'm an a hole. The other story that I saw from Live Golf that popped up, it's from. I'm gonna have to end up kind of taking them out of my search, but there's this online publication called Golf Magic, that occasionally I'll get like notifications for their articles, and they did this like super clickbaity thing, and I was thinking, what did I miss? So the title of this article was Live Golf CEO Greg Norman welcomes two new signings ahead of 2025 season. And I'm like, oh shit, let me click this article and see, did I miss something? Is there a
Yeah.
name that snuck through? Okay, so they're announcing John Rusick as the league's new chief legal officer and Denise Taylor as head of product and technology.
No clue who those
Whoop
people
de
are.
doo. Whoop de doo. Who gives a damn? Why is this being sensationalized? And it just kind of aggravated the crap out of me because I'm just like, this is the crap that they pull and think that this is impactful. And they, clearly
Yeah,
they have this publication that's caping for them and willing to post whatever, but very just bait and switch type stuff. So I just found
yeah.
that interesting, just for them to get in the news. All right, let's swing it back over here. Let's do the ladies first. So the Annika, which don't love her either, but they have this tournament in dedication of her successful golf career. No doubt she's a great in the game. Just find it interesting that they capitalize her whole name in the title of the tournament. But typically played last year. I think it was a little bit cooler, where they were having to bundle up. Looks like they were in full, you know, global warming. It was warm as all get out this week. Everybody
Yeah,
pretty much, Charlie was decked out in the Malbon, looking, like the way her stuff is cut. It's primo, like
yeah.
complete opposite of Jason Day. Her
Dad
Malbon
bod.
fits are clean, like
Yeah,
just really precise. The tailoring is A1, like no bullshit. She could wear that outside of the course, to a mall, whatever. The stuff is A1. So anyway,
yeah.
she played a really good week, had, up competitive, had the lead. Alexa Pano played well the first day or two of the tournament, fell off. But Nelly, back at it. Her and Charlie going to the final round today, playing in the same group, final group. One stroke separated them, with Charlie having the lead going into the round. Unfortunately, did not have her best today. Shot at 1 over 71. Nelly went on a run of like five birdies on the back half of the
Mm-hmm.
back nine. I think it was stretches 12, no, God, 11
10.
through 16, 10 through 15, 10
Yeah.
through 15, five straight birds, and then ended up parring the last three. So, yeah, I think I'm sorry, 11 through 15. But yeah, Nelly back at it. 15th win career wise, seventh win of this year, which is
Yeah.
crazy. Halfway to meeting her official qualifications for the Hall of Fame, for the LPGA Hall of Fame. Halfway there, but looked good again and was able to finish strong. The door was still open because she was kind of coming back from behind. Hit a kind of a weak gap wedge, shot into 16, flared it out to the right, but was able to get up and down, and really that secured the victory for her. What'd you think about Nelly getting the win this week again after kind of a tough back half of her year after a really early season success?
Yeah. Yeah, I was just thinking about it, and it's like you can't even really call her like horses for courses because she won in that playoff with Lydia Ko in Phoenix in a new event in a new course, the Phoenix Country Club or whatever it was. But
Yep.
she definitely tends to play courses she knows. This is her home course. She plays out here. She did a segment with Trotty Golf and Golf Galaxy and everything like that. So she's played out here before because that background was very familiar. They played in on 18
Mm.
and stuff like that. So that green I've seen before. So she knows the course, and I think she played it well. I think again she came out kind of cold, kind of nervy, and then turned it up on the back nine all 4 days. Because the first day she bogeyed and was like even par going into like the final 8 holes, and then ended up chipping in on 18 to shoot a 66 and go 4 under. Then kind of did the same thing the second day, and then on the round three when she played with Charlie and Pano, same thing happened. So I think she knows how to dial it in and kind of get back focused. And luckily, as she always mentions, her caddy is, stellar on green reading and keeping her in the moment and stuff like that. Jason, I think is his name or whatever. So yeah, I think that, you know, it's very hard for her swing to get in a funk. I think it's easy for her to self correct with what she's got going on. It's either going to be a nice little draw or it's going to be like that fan. And all she needs to do is close the face and that thing starts drawing right back. So
Yeah.
I think she's got a good thing going. And I think it was good on her to play the week before instead of her coming out cold next week for their, end of the season final. So I think their race to the CME Globe finishes up next week. So we saw
Yeah.
Lydia, we saw Charlie, pretty much everybody that we wanted to see was here. Lilia Vu was here as well. So yeah, we saw all the premier LPGA stars for this year, and I think it was kind of funny that they made sure to mention and humble Charlie again because they made sure to mention that, yeah, this isn't the first time Charlie and Nelly have gotten together and played. And it was the Solheim Cup where, Charlie really did cook her 6-5 or 7-6 or whatever it may be. But
Right. And
but
honestly, this
yeah,
was only the fourth, not fourth, sorry, sixth start for Nelly since May, since her
yeah,
last
she's been
win.
taking
So
some
she
long breaks. One was,
very
injury
long.
ridden, the neck thing where she couldn't make the Asian swing, and she mentioned that too. She said she was sad to miss it too. But again, when your tour is growing globally like that, and you see the content that they're putting out, like we mentioned, they're
Yeah.
finally showing the other side of the LPGA, all their parties, their pre-round, their pre-tournament stuff that they do, all the galas that they do. I think it's a dope thing. And and honestly, if the PGA did something similar, I'd be cool with that too. All not just showing the pro-am rounds, the little hour long on Golf Channel, fast forwarded, pro-am round. Show what they go
Yeah.
to as well. Show their pre-rounds and just because I feel like they only do that type of fun thing when Tiger's on. You know what I'm saying? They show him
Yeah.
arriving. Then Monday, Tuesday practice session. Bro, we could be doing that for a lot more players that are actually captivating and fun and entertaining as well. So I think they need to be doing that in other aspects, not just on the LPGA. But I think that's what another thing that Nelly Corda missed is the pre-tournament fun that she has with the
Camaraderie.
girls
Yeah.
that the camaraderie. She's friends with all those people.
So
Remember, she was on the Aramco series. She played in the LET last year as well. So she's very familiar with the Allison Lees, the Charlie Hulls, the Pornanong
yeah.
Fat Lums and
Yeah,
stuff like
she's
that.
despite her talent, she's not put herself separate from the rest of the tour, right?
Right.
She's
Very
still a part
personable.
of it. Right. And I think that's the one thing as you kind of were going through it that I think not the LPGA, LPGA does better than the PGA Tour, and kind of alludes to what we were talking about earlier. I feel like the PGA Tour is very corporate
Yeah.
and very it's too structured to a fault, right? And so like today's coverage was very jumbled. So I woke up, a little bit later, probably like 7, 8 or whatever, and they're replaying. I want to say it was final, like kind of the not replay, but highlights of the DP World Tour. Then they
Hmm.
rolled into kind of the Bermuda stuff. Then the Annika, replay. It's just I don't know. It's just something about the way that they structure their stuff. And the one thing that they have that I really like, which is like the cut. I think it comes on Mondays in the early afternoon. Just
Yeah.
doesn't get a lot of run, and they play it like once throughout the week. And I'm like, dude, this is a really good way to
Pretty much called
market
Monday.
yourselves. Yeah. So I don't know. It's the PGA Tour, super corporate. They're gonna hopefully learn. They're gonna have to keep adjusting and and figuring their stuff out as they go to keep doing the things that the LPGA has really gotten good at over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to talk about on LPGA before we move on?
Um, no, not anything that like off the
Okay.
top of my head now.
Yeah, we're getting a crazy downpour right now. It's supposed to get rain overnight, and it came. Thought the
We
heat
got
had
rain
kicked on
today.
for a little bit. It's crazy. PGA Tour. I'm not going to talk too much about it just because, honestly, this was the weakest field that I've seen out of the Bermuda, Butterfield Bermuda Championship in a long time. Very
Yeah.
weak field. Not a lot of stars. Not a lot of even up and comers that were trying. I mean, there were up and comers, but not the ones that we're super familiar with. That you're like, oh yeah, I want to tune in to watch that guy play. So Rafael Campos, yeah, I don't know that dude at
For
all.
a journeyman.
Uh, yeah, looked older. He took the hat off. He had the tiger hairline going on. So,
Yeah.
yeah, congratulations to him.
Yeah.
I'm not going to take, was very, listened to a little bit of his post press conference. He's just really thankful to know where he's going to be playing, going forward and being able to kind of plan his schedule a little bit better now with a PGA Tour win under his belt. But when you look at this, top 10, the leaderboard was super light, man. Just not a lot of pressure out there.
Yeah.
The course does what it does. You can tell it's like a wind swept off the coast, couple of spots on the greens where you're like, oh, that don't look too great. It's
Yeah.
just a certain look to that course. But let's go through it. I mean, top 10, Rafael Campos, Andrew Novak, Adrian Dumont it's his French name. Never heard of that dude. Mark Hubbard, he's a staple. He plays damn near every week. Vince
Yeah.
Whaley, heard of him, but not a star. Sam Ryder, we know. Justin Lauer's been getting a lot of run here lately at the end of the year,
Yeah.
competing. Ben Griffin, again, kind of not a rookie, but a couple of years back on tour. And then
Yeah.
Grayson Sigg, David Lipsky, Patrick Rogers. Okay, we're golf junkies, so we know the names, but these are not people that you're going to um, they're not
Michael
appointment
Kim.
watching, right?
Michael Kim, one of our new faves. Pearson Cootie, it's Pearson
Right,
and
the twin.
yeah, I don't know I can't think of the other guy's name, but that's those are the twins right there. Francisco
Right.
Molinari
Pierce.
tied
Oh,
17th.
where has he been,
Tied 17.
bro?
No clue. No clue. Troy Merritt, T12. You ain't lying. Nick Wadney got a random start out here. Christo
These
Lamprick.
are just
Um,
these are just journeymen, bro.
yeah. Kids got a start out there.
Did
Robert Streb,
Lamprecht
Aaron Badley.
Lamprecht? So that's the tall dude, right?
Yeah, that's the 6'8" guy. He was a amateur and then turned pro right after the Masters.
I was gonna say he's been. I thought he was
Yep.
always still an amateur, or still had maintained his amateur. So he's 4 events into his career. Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Yeah, I mean,
This is a bad field. This is bad, bro.
not bad, just not notable, just not anything worth talking about. I think
Right.
more so than anything, the two things that pop off to me are Rafael Campos. You just have seen the name like around. I feel like since 2019, and it's been the same story. He competes at the Puerto Rico Open because he's Puerto Rican,
Mm-hmm.
or so he always gets an exemption into that. Starts off hot, never just has enough juice to make it to the finish line. Again, a career journeyman. Literally, he is
Yeah.
like probably low 40s, something like that. I mean, he looks it. He looks every
I'm,
bit of it. Um,
I'm pulling up his profile now, but yeah, he is 36. As you
36.
mentioned, 36. He's a rough 36. No shade.
That,
No shade.
yeah, right. Right. No, no
But
disrespect,
but
bro.
to but yeah, I mean, he's played. This is a good indication of who he is as a player. So he's played in 80 career events. He has only made 33 cuts, so he's under
Right.
50% on his cuts made. So that kind of tells you the type of player that he is. I mean, he's earned $3 million in his career, with the big chunk of that probably coming now through this
Hmm.
tournament. So
Yeah.
he's a journeyman. You know, that's just the truth of it. And he ended up winning by 3 strokes. He won it. He went out there and won the tournament. The conditions were not easy. Of course, it's super windy. I think
Yeah.
going down 18, uh, wind dead into his face. So I mean, stepped up there and hit a drive. So kudos to him. Do I think that he'll ever win again? It is generally unlikely. Just I mean, the odds are not in his favor. So it was good for him to at least secure some job security, and maybe this
Right.
does kind of harpoon him forward to perform a little bit better going forward, especially as he's gonna get more starts this coming year than he ever
Next
has
year.
consistently.
Mhm.
Yeah, so we'll see. But yeah, Bermuda was very weak. Do they even play again this week? This coming week?
This is the RSM. Remember, I skipped
Oh, that's
events.
right. You jumped ahead last week. That's right.
Yeah.
So the RSM, we'll see what the weather looks like. It's either going to be like super cold or rainy. This one rarely gets good weather anymore.
The
So we'll
last year it was
see.
good
All
weather
right.
was the year Rory won, and that was in like 2022. So three tournaments ago. Yeah. The only other
Yeah.
thing that I have to say about this Bermuda Championship is, to me, again, the only two things that I really have to say is Rafael Campos, career journeyman, and then secondly, just another event where Justin Lauer was the leader for 3 straight rounds and then did nothing on the fourth round again.
Yeah.
I mean, started as the leader after round two, played a good round in round three, shot a 3 under, and then went 1 over par. When really all he needed to do was just shoot a couple under par and have people come chase him. But Rafael Campos shot a number. He went out and got it. And I mean, after the 62, that pretty much put him in contention, but he still had a lot of work to do. He wasn't in the last group. He still had plenty of
Yeah.
people in front of him, or behind him. I mean, no, yeah, behind him, that he had to set a number for, and he did it. So kudos to him for that. But Justin Lauer, one of these days he gonna kick the door down. I don't know if it's gonna be soon, but Jesus, man. Oh,
I know,
good
right?
story. Yeah, sorry, Justin, but please, come on, bro. Um, Ben Griffin, good story. They interviewed him before the event. I think he did enough to secure his card for next year, and I don't know if he was in that run for top 60 or whatever. Yeah, he had to shoot a decent tournament to make sure he was in the top 60 to get into some of these elevated events. I think that's what his story
Yeah.
was, and he did that. So he is now
And
58. He has secured it. Go
and
ahead,
I'll
Rob. I'm
tell my
sorry.
story about. No. You're good. I think I'll tell my story about Ben Griffin if y'all have not heard it before. But this kid came on my radar a couple of years ago. He was playing in a Corn Ferry event that they play at Texas Rangers golf course here in DFW. I was just out there walking by myself and watched him tee off a number one. They lost his ball, couldn't spot it. Um, he went back to the tee, re-teed, ended up getting up and down for like a bogey, I think it was. Um, and he was running hot. I think he went like bogey, double bogey, another bogey. At some point, he took off his hat, but I was just like, okay, this kid's like clearly talented, clearly
Yeah,
talented. And I don't know, something just kind of intrigued me about him. So I was kind of watching the online afterwards and just saw him go on a heater on the back nine in the tournament round after that horrific start, and ended up finishing pretty well. But I think he ended up shooting like 3 or 4 under par after that disastrous start, and I just thought that was really impressive. And then to see him kind of grind it out, make the PGA Tour after really giving up the game of golf. So I think, he was in like mortgage lending or something, and
Yeah,
then just,
finance. He was a
decided to
finance bro.
give it one more shot, and has kind of made his dreams come true. So I think a really good kid, seems like a good kid, and living out his dreams. So shout out to Ben Griffin, somebody I'll follow forever, just because of that kind of one moment in the sun that I saw him kind of do his thing. So
Yeah, shout out
anyway,
Ben, shout out Mizuno, and shout out finance bros. Not really, because we all know how finance
no,
bros are,
no,
but yeah.
yeah, they're the worst. So he's probably a better person for not living in that game. The only other thing that I had on my list was just a surprise little, not surprise, but Garmin continues to like do their thing in the golf space. Just an article that I saw earlier in the week. Let me see if I can pull this up, but it's coming straight from their website. But they released, or at least announced, this Garmin Approach R50. A couple of years ago, they came out with the R10, which is like a really small version of this simulator launch monitor. And I thought the price point was very interesting. So it's a launch monitor combined with a simulator. Looks sleek. Supposed to be able to like get 15 different club and ball data points.
Hmm.
And for $5,000, I didn't think that was super ridiculous. Especially when you
Yeah,
look at like the GC3, not the GC Quad, but like the GC3, which is a little more expensive. And if you were able to kind of get a setup like this at your home, with a screen and just like a hidden mat, I don't know, $5,000 was an entry. It's not cheap, right? I mean, that's an investment,
right.
but given that amount of data, that seemed like a reasonable cost. What do you think about stuff like this coming to the market and getting more affordable these days?
Yeah. No, agreed. I mean it's a couple of different like cheapo versions you could find, but again, if you want something that's actually going to be feasible, you're going to have to pay a little bit more than you would expect. But much like everything that's in golf, it's an investment. And more times than not, these things have years of use behind them. So it's not like you're sitting here, you're going to use it for a season and it's going to be done. These things have so much longevity behind them. You keep it updated. I know they probably got a program, though you can probably add more,
Well, hell, they got
courses to it.
43,000 courses. They got 43,000 already preloaded or available,
Exactly.
right? I'm sure they don't loaded them up initially, but yeah, at least available. That's crazy. They're gonna
Right.
support it because Garmin, again, they've been in the simulator slash kind of. I mean, they started off with the watches and also the kind of the handheld kind of
I was getting ready to
GPS.
say, remember that video we used to that the very me and Rod used to watch this minute and a half long commercial. The
Oh, it was a
coolest
hype
thing,
video, bro.
the coolest thing on the planet, and I cannot find it for the life of me, Rod. It was a
Have you tried to
video.
find that thing?
I'm gonna try to find it again. He is a dew sweeper. He had the watch. It was so serene. It had a little cool little music in the background. I mean, it was one of the dopest little, product drops that you could even imagine. And I swear to God, I bought a Garmin watch for that very reason. I promise
I
you I
did
did.
too.
I swear. It was so
I'm gonna
cool.
I'm gonna find that thing.
We
They
gonna
gotta
find
have
that
that
thing.
somewhere.
Yeah. It's gotta be in the memory deck somewhere over there, bro. For real. I
I
know.
remember
Crazy
that
to remember
thing.
that. I know.
No, but that's good memories. I remember. Oh, it used to be my hype video. I would watch that before rounds, and
Man, so
yeah,
loud.
definitely legit. All right, let me kill this. I think it's slowing my computer down here. But yeah, I'm excited. I was like,
Yeah.
maybe spring for a little start saving up, do a little indoor simulator action going on. Just thought it was a cool little, product launch. And when I first saw it, I was thinking that's got to at least be 10K. But for it to be five, I'm interested to see if there's somebody out there that'll do some reviews on it,
Yeah.
to see if it's worth it, right? And how accurate it is compared to some more premiumly priced products. So,
Yeah, man, one of these content creators gonna get it for free. You know that. We'll
for
get a
sure.
product review.
For sure. All right, man. That's it for the list of things. Anything else random that you want to talk about before we hop off? Or the Mavericks are playing tonight versus the OKC
Somehow
Thunder.
winning. They were winning at
Yeah,
the half.
really.
I ain't checked back since.
I got it on the top of
Um,
the phone. It's 109.98. So I like talking about apps because I'm a app nerd and I love phones and technology. So if you don't have Apple Sports, that has like been the coolest little integration. Particularly if you have one of the newer iPhones with the dynamic island. So I use this. I'm gonna see if I can play it or show it. So let's see if it'll focus on my phone. If you see the top of my phone where it has the score and updates, now it's just showing my headphones, but it's got the scores, and so you can set up that with Apple Sports, their internal app, do all your favorites, and then just have it as
mhm.
a persistent deal when they're playing. So, just a pro tip for football, basketball, college sports. I'm following U of
Yeah,
H football, basketball. Super cool. Without having to keep
very.
jumping into an app or whatever. Just a little pro tip. I hadn't tried it much for golf. However, the PGA Tour has a good little
Yeah,
addition where
their
you
app
can
is
do
nice.
again. Yeah, but again, you need the new dynamic island, the little pill shaped thing versus the forehead thing on the older iPhone. So,
Yeah.
cool addition without having to stay in the apps.
Yeah. I mean, speaking of though, my hometown teams, as we always mention at some point throughout the show, Cowboys suck. I'm glad Dak is finally giving it a rest. It's even more excuse for us to be trash. Hopefully, the Texans literally humble us so that I don't want any kind of momentum. I don't want any kind of like small windows of bright spots or anything, bro. It's over. The season is over. Thankfully, Thanksgiving is
Right.
going to be very tight knit and very, warm and welcoming. So I won't have to worry about any family members jabbing me about my team. Thankfully,
You know them stupid texts are gonna come through though.
they can get blocked or they can get deleted. I mean, one way or the other. I you know. Anyways, shout out to my
Yeah, I'm
Mavs.
I'm I'm super glad that the Cooper Rush experiment did not work again this year. He got
Right.
mollywopped
He
last
stinks.
week.
He stinks.
He was
Put Trey Lance
so
out
I
there so we can really be bad, please.
no, I apparently Trey. There's something about Trey Lance that we don't know, but apparently he's really bad. Or Jerry Jones is a super hater. I don't know. Maybe he's playing for a higher draft pick this year. I don't think that they can be that bad, but
Yeah.
yeah, I know they need a running back next year. They need to figure that
Right.
situation out. That's
Yeah.
untenable going forward. Um, let's swing.
We need to do one
Yeah,
two punch again.
what's that? What's the
We
two?
need we we need speed and power. We need one guy that can
Oh
reach,
yeah,
and then we need one guy that can just go north and south. I don't know how that's gonna work out. I don't know who that's gonna be, but
yeah.
mm,
Shout out to Tony Pollard. It was a big loss
right,
for us,
serviceable.
unfortunately.
Yeah, serviceable for sure.
Uh, Swing back to the NBA real quick, just
Yeah,
random. There's
absolutely.
talk of expansion. Um, what city would you like to see be the beneficiary of a new NBA franchise? Thought that was an interesting little thing come up this week.
Well, let's be real. Seattle needs a team. However it may come, Seattle needs a team. But you know how they do. It's got to be two teams. So
Oh, to keep it even, yeah.
yeah. Um,
Well, do you go twinsies or and shift the league? This is crazy. What if we go? Well, first question. I agree. Seattle needs a team. Do you strip the history from the Oklahoma Thunder and give them back the Sonics? Do you go something completely different in Seattle? I don't know. I feel like it would be blasphemous for them not to be the Sonics. But
Exactly. I think they need to be back as the Sonics. I that
okay.
I think that's how they go. It's just a matter of what I mean, what other major city on the East Coast could get a team? I
Well, that's what I'm
mean,
saying. Do you go twinsies and throw a
I think
team
you
in
can.
in Canada? But no, literally, and go right above
No.
Seattle and go Vancouver.
Yeah, but they're on the West Coast though.
That's what I'm saying. You have a league shift. Somebody's gonna from the Western Conference that's
New
kind of in the
Orleans has
middle,
been West
maybe
Coast so long.
move them
Memphis,
over. Make
maybe. Memphis?
yes, yes. Both
That'd be so weird though. They
take
play like a
take
West Coast
take
team though. They
take
play like
take
a West
take
Coast team.
take New Orleans and Memphis. Bye. Get gone, and then put two on the West Coast. I would love that, bro.
Yeah.
Bring
I
back the
think they need
Grizzlies.
expansion. Yeah. Or
Bring back. Go
what
ahead.
you think about going crazy expansion and just going Mexico City? Hmm?
Ooh, I don't
Mexico City
know.
games ain't been bad.
They're not. They're not bad at all.
And then Team
I'm wondering
Mexico in the
about
Olympics is not bad. I mean, it's not bad.
do they go Eastern Conference or Western Conference?
No, you got to go
They
west,
they
and
would go
then just like
East.
we said, no. You got to
Oh,
go west, and then you move
and then
somebody to the
shift the
east, like
other
we
two.
said. Yeah, we're just gonna have to have.
That's not a that's
I
not a
mean,
bad thought. I mean, travel wouldn't be crazy, right?
right? It's still stateside for the most part. I mean, let's look at divisions. Let's go divisions. See, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Dang, they really in a good spot though. Every division, there's three divisions on each side. They all have five teams. It's
Yeah.
really set.
Yeah, we're at
So
an even 30,
who
right?
even 30? So who's the Randys? I mean, it's like
That
what you
ends up
said
with
though.
6.
Yeah, maybe Northwest. Northwest gets, I don't know, but because even you could go Pacific for Seattle, and then you got to go Mexico City's in the Southwest. New Orleans goes over to Southeast,
Well, then you put them in the
or you
division.
put,
They take New Orleans spot.
yeah, yeah, and they go, well, Mexico City goes Southwest. But if we're bringing two teams in, you go New Orleans to Southeast, and then you go Memphis to Central on the East
It
Coast,
could work. Yeah.
and then you got Vancouver or whatever, or Seattle on Pacific, and then you got Mexico City in Southwest.
Yeah, because I don't
I
think
mean, that's
that
the
I
only
can't
way it
see
would work.
another. No, that's good thinking on the Mexico City pick. There's not another major city that I think outside of Seattle that dictates population wise that could support a team. You know?
So, yeah, the only other team, just like what you said with the twinning, you got Clippers, Lakers. You don't think we couldn't go Miami, Miami?
No, hell no, not in the same city. No, I don't know because I I think no, I don't see it.
Or, and
Florida's
you,
Florida
because you
is
already got
Florida's gonna be
Brooklyn.
on Florida's gonna be underwater in like 10 years, especially
Man, shout
Miami.
out global warming. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
let's
because
see. Let's look at the
You
map.
got New York, Brooklyn. We definitely not doubling up in Pennsylvania. Absolutely not. I'm
No,
not doubling up in Michigan, Minnesota. I'm not going Georgia.
could could
Charlotte's
you
got
did
both Carolina.
Pitt,
They got
Pitt,
no
Pittsburgh could
DC.
Pittsburgh?
Maybe, maybe. Are
You
they?
know,
I
they
don't know.
support
They too.
they support
They
they support every other thing. They got hockey, football, um,
yeah.
baseball. Pittsburgh, come on now.
Maybe black and
I
gold
don't know.
too. You think so?
Ooh,
Head
what
ass.
could be the team name? What could
Oh
be the
no.
team? Well, I
The
don't know.
I guess I got to think outside the box because I'm thinking off the top of my head the Pittsburgh
Pitt,
Steelmen, but
Pittsburgh,
like
Pittsburgh Riveters.
the Pittsburgh
I don't
Panthers
know.
is a college team.
No, that's lame.
What is a Steeler? Do we know?
Like the steel industry. Steel industry. That's why I said the riveters. It's got to be around like metalwork and industrialism, stuff like that.
Mm, yeah,
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what their expansion plans look like.
yeah,
We'll see if we'll see if the economy holds up next year to actually be able to support this shit.
right. Yeah,
All right, y'all.
we'll see.
Getting about
We
to start
dragged y'all
rambling.
out
I've been
enough.
I've been in a good place. I've been getting to a better place this week. So anyway, Peter Bros Golf Show back at it again next week.
Yes, sir.
Maybe
RSM,
Marcus will.
CME. I'm on time.
Oh yeah, maybe Marcus will respect y'all next week. Maybe. Let's see, fingers crossed. All right, y'all.
CME
I'm
Globe
Rod.
Championship, RSM Classic, more other
I wouldn't.
random golf topics. We'll be here.
I wouldn't be surprised if DP World Tour does some wraparound shit and play. And I think they're done right now. I don't think
I
they're
think
playing
they
next
have a
week,
couple
but
of weeks off and then they're back playing
because
pretty
they
soon.
love playing golf. They love playing some golf over there in
We
the
said this
top
at the
part of the
beginning
world.
of the we said this at the beginning of the year. They have like a 46-week season or something like that. It's 44 or 46 or something like that. And the PGA is 39. So they're killing us. They got a whole nother month of golf to go. And then of course, we'll get some Australian golf here in the next couple of weeks.
Oh
They'll be
yeah,
doing sand.
look,
No way we're gonna miss the sandbelt golf. So we'll get that. We'll have some things to talk about.
you're spot on. So we get a 1 week break from on the DP World Tour, and guess what they do after that? Double up.
Yep.
Joburg Open happened in the same week as the Fortinet Australian PGA Championship. DP World Tour is that tour. If you love golf, they are that tour to watch.
They
They are
be
not playing
working.
around.
They be working.
Straight up. Straight up. All right, y'all. Love you. Love
Anyways,
y'all. Y'all have a good week. Bitter Bros Golf Show again. I'm Rod.
and I'm Marcus.
Holler.